It's 9 o'clock. It's a Saturday morning. Yes, that can mean only one thing. It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woo! Good morning, everybody. Where do the weeks go? I'm not sure if it's just my age, but they used to last a lot longer when I was a kid. It seems only like yesterday that I was talking to you, and it's great. It's great. So I've got some lovely new tricks, but I've got one of the big ones, one of the big sellouts at Blackpool. Every year, it seems, well, at least for the last few years, Thomas Badder has turned up with just one card trick and blown away the whole convention and sold out every time. And last year, it was Lumino by Thomas Badder. If you watched my Blackpool show, he did it on me, performed it on me. And I don't really think I hid my amazement and joy at that trick very well. I absolutely loved it. The plot, the presentation, everything. Thomas is a great performer. And I think why his tricks do sell out at Blackpool isn't just because of his charm. It's because he takes one trick or one plot and spends an inordinate amount of time with it. I can imagine getting as creative as possible to come up with a solution that is better than anyone that's gone before. In this effect, what happens is you have a card selected by your participant and returned to the deck. They can then shuffle the deck as much as they like. You then spread it out in front of you and you try to memorize it within 10 seconds. You then are able to deal from a face down deck all of the black cards and all of the red cards into one pile. But when you turn over the red cards, there is one card that is in the wrong pile, and it is your participant's selection. It's great, but there's a lot of subtleties in this. So the idea of deck memorization, that I've been very good at memorizing cards, is brilliant in itself. Before I get to the method, let me just talk about the presentation of it, because he does really think that through as well. And what you have here, when he deals it down into two piles, just the simple idea of having one pile face down and one pile face up means that your participant doesn't know whether you are getting all of the black cards or just getting lucky on a few of them for quite a while. But then in the middle of the dealing as well, there is a wonderful moment, and this is what threw me off completely, where he says, the next three will be black, then there'll be two red, and then there'll be three black, for example. And that bit threw me off because he hadn't reached those cards yet, so there is no way he could have been doing any of the things that I thought he was. And yeah, that's it. I was completely fooled, and that little moment was really what was stuck in my mind, and I couldn't shake it off. Let me show you what you get now then. So you get a special deck of cards, and this deck of cards certainly handles very much like a normal deck of cards. It looks very much like a normal deck of cards. I handled it and I shuffled it in the presentation that Thomas did on me. I saw nothing. It just seemed completely like a regular deck of cards. Very, very clever. Unfortunately, that does mean there isn't much I can show you in the way of gimmicks. The trick itself, in the very, very basic form, is, well, it's not in new deck order anymore. The trick itself, in its most basic form, is virtually self-working, and the deck does so much for you. It's incredible. There is a smidge of audience management, I would suggest, but Thomas runs through that. He runs through how he does it, and really you shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. Just go through the deck a few times, practice the separation, and probably within 20 minutes you'll be getting it down completely. If you want to do the bit in the middle that fooled me so badly, that does require a small, tiny minnows worth of memory, and Thomas explains exactly how he does it, and it's very quick, very easy. If you can remember your pin number, you can remember this. Honestly, it's that easy. And the effect is, of course, it's engaging, it's baffling, it's a miracle. It really is. And there's a lovely moment, I think you caught me in Blackpool, where I realised that there's just one card wrong in that deck, and then I go, that is going to be my card, isn't it? And you almost can't believe he's done it. It is very, very good. It's a one deck wonder that is just worth carrying around, quite frankly. The tutorial is by Thomas himself. It's only 11 minutes long, which probably hints at just how simple and devious this method is, but there is a Facebook group as well, and in there are some bonus routines, so that is well worth checking out as well. That is Lumino by Thomas Bader, 42.99. Next up is Travelling Chips by R. Paul Wilson and Stephen Delere. This is really a very colourful sort of coins across. In this routine, you show that you've got 3 poker chips, red one, a white one, and green one. You take the white one out of your hand and you put it under your armpit, but it then reappears back in your hand. You then close your hand, it reappears back under your armpit and has vanished from your hand. You then take the green one and the white one jumps over to join it. You can then repeat that slightly more visually. Finally, you put the white one in your pocket and it jumps back to join the other 2. Right, let me show you what you get. I'm not going to show you the gimmick, but I'm going to talk about the gimmick. I will do. You get these 3 poker chips and a gimmick. These are good clay poker chips. I know in the past there have been some things of going, oh, people are going to think they are dodgy, or they're a bit too light, or they don't feel like proper casino chips. I think that is all hogwash anyway, but these are a nice, good weight, a good size. They feel like something you'd get in a mid-priced poker chip set, I would say. So if anyone plays poker at home, these would be the sort of chips that they feel like. And I love the colours. The different colours really is what makes this trick sing. It does mean that there are a couple of moments that are slightly discrepant, particularly if you're just watching it on camera. But in the real world, that discrepancy is not an issue at all. And the routine's really nice. It's a bit of a take, I would say, more on a free fly rather than the classic coins across. It doesn't have the miraculous visuals of a good free fly. I think that's probably what lets it down a little bit to me, is that free fly is a brilliant routine. R. Paul Wilson has a very good and very quite easy routine for it, actually, that is on one of his DVDs. I can't remember which one, but that's well worth checking out if you like this sort of thing. The advantage of the chips and the advantage of the way this is done, you don't have to worry about having soft coins or any noise or anything like that, because poker chips are naturally soft. So and also you don't actually have to do that sort of slidey production that much anyway with this. In the Stevens routine, there is a palm involved, and that's fine, because these poker chips, they are a good size, they're lighter than a coin, they're very easy to grip, you're only palming it out for a couple of seconds. It really is nothing to worry about. And the routine itself I like. It's got some nice charming moments to it. Craig Petty is also on the tutorial.
I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough.
The rants and tantrums that we all love. and I just can't seem to get enough of Craig. And he has his own take on the routine. It's very similar in plot-wise, obviously, but it doesn't require a palm. It does require a shuttle pass. Again, that's nothing to be scared of. That is just a pure thing about timing. Just practice it, you know, on when you're on the bus, and you'll get it down in a couple of minutes. It's really nothing to be scared of. These are very simple coin moves. But what I really liked about Craig's routine is that there's a moment in the routine where you have the coins in your hand, sort of like this, and I don't particularly like that very much. Looks a bit awkward, looks a bit silly. Craig has it the other way round, and that's nice because it's almost like you're intending to do it and show that your palm's empty at the same time. So it's almost like it's at my fingertips, there's nothing in my palm. I like that a lot. Craig points out that's why he does it that way, and I think he's got a very good point indeed. As you'd expect from him, he doesn't stop there, and he shows a bonus routine that involves a deck of cards where the white poker chip vanishes from the stack on the table and appears inside of the deck of cards, having found the selection, which is a nice little bonus routine, especially if you've got them out anyway. You could do that as a follow-up, introduces the deck of cards. So if you're going to do this as part of you know, a 3 or 4 trick set, that's not a bad thing to do at all. Now back to the gimmick. I can't show it to you, but I will say that the advertising and what they say in the tutorial is that it's all based on an idea by R. Paul Wilson, and perhaps that is how they feel. I'm just slightly annoyed because for me the gimmick is really originated from Steve Duchek, and I just think, I'm not going to tell you which thing it is, but I think Steve Duchek was the first person to come up with this idea back, I think even back, it might have been in the 70s, but certainly in the 90s it was published in his book, and I feel he just needs a little bit of recognition for it. This gimmick has changed it a little bit, possibly enough to say that it is a new gimmick slightly, but the idea, the creative genius of it, and some of the handlings that you see, I still think Steve Duchek should get a lot of praise for that, and just some recognition. That's it. I'm sure R. Paul Wilson might have done it as you know, independent creator and all of that, but I still think, you know, it's right to mention everybody's name. But to be honest, recently in Magic there's been quite a lot of fuss over originality and ideas and creativity and things like that, that I'm not going to get too involved. And I forgot to mention that in Craig's routine, which also makes it slightly better possibly, is that you can have the chips examined, all 3 chips examined at the start and all 3 tricks examined at the end. And it's a very, very quick reset really as well. So if you are going from table to table, it's no problem. One of the changes they have made to the gimmick is that it is now easy to ditch without actually going to your pocket, and that hints that it's a very well thought out and rehearsed routine. It's surprisingly easy even for the coin novice, and because of the colour of the chips and the size of them, it can also be seen well for a group of people. That is Travelling Chips by R. Paul Wilson, Stephen Delare, with a little bit of help by Steve Duchek for $32.99. Next up, it's Liner by Stefanos Alexander. This is, well, it's a card trick, isn't it? You have a card selected and lost in the deck. You then grab a Sharpie pen and you draw a line across the top of the top card of the deck. That line then visibly switches down to the bottom of the card before vanishing completely. You then spread through the deck and there is one card with a line on it, and it is indeed their selection. I am trying so hard to like gimmicks of this ilk. It is a struggle for me. It's not something I grew up with in Magic at all, and to be honest, normally I would have just done this with check that camera straight. They're still new to me, and I still find them a little bit frustrating. Back in the day, this trick would have been performed with just a few color changes and a regular deck of cards. This does add some very clean visuals to it, I will give you that. And I do like the plot. In fact, Julio Montoro has a version called Slow Vanish of this. It doesn't have the hopping bit of the line, but it does have the vanish of the line and then that line finding the selection. And I actually prefer that. It's much simpler. It's a much cleaner effect. And I'm not entirely sure where the line hopping from the top of the card to the bottom of the card before it vanishes. I don't think that adds or makes any sense, to be honest, apart from you hinting that it can move around. But I mean, the vanish does that, surely. And it is really all about this gimmick, which is very, very well made. Card skill wise, to actually perform the trick, it's very, very simple. It's all taught for you. The tutorial's only 7 minutes long, so that will give you a hint at just how easy the handling is. It's all about playing around with this gimmick and making it smooth and its operation clean and getting your timing right as well. That's fairly easy. It's a knack. It takes about 5-10 minutes of just playing around and you'll get this down fine. I'm just not a big fan of adding something like this to the deck, to be honest. But otherwise the effect is really nice. The other problem with the gimmick is, can I show you the gimmick quickly? I'll show you the gimmick in its sleeve quickly. So it is just a red rider back card, a quick flash, and I think it should all look fairly normal. But the issue I've got, I discovered when playing with it, is that despite the craftsmanship, which, unless you're in very, very harsh lighting, makes the gimmick look invisible, they've used, I can only imagine, standard bicycle cards for it. And the problem with standard bicycle cards is no two deck seems to be the same. The allowances of what I would say a misprint, really, the borders aren't perfect on either side. So some of these gimmicks, they've made them from, or certainly one I've got, they've made it from two cards from two different decks, and consequently there is a telltale sign that something is amiss. If you keep the card moving, if you don't focus on it, you will probably get away with it. But now I've seen it, it just leaps out at me. You do also get some little something should your gimmick break and you need to repair it. However, I couldn't see any tutorial on how to actually do that. For the price, it's absolutely fine. It is visual. It's just not quite for me. And also with Slow Vanish by Julio Montoro, I just prefer that version of this plot. That is Liner by Stephanus Alexander, £21, 50p. And finally, we have Key Cutter by the man himself, Craig Petty. This is a new addition to what is now being called the Keymaster range by Penguin. That's certainly what it seems to be referred to. In this trick, you show that you have two door keys. One is cut, one is uncut. You put them on your keyring, you put them into your participants' hands with a magical gesture. When they open their hands, both keys are now cut. It is, well, it's Penguin's version and Craig's version of Mark Leverage's wonderful Keyvolution that came out in 1991, I believe. And that trick was remarkable. Lots and lots of people did that trick. It was one of the first gimmicky tricks that I bought. And actually, I found a review of it, which is why I actually bought it. It was in the Magic menu. Let me get my glasses, and I will paraphrase it just a little bit, but it says, effects that have the magic happen in the spectator's hands are highly prized by commercial close-up workers, and Keyvolution fits the bill perfectly. At the end, both keys can be examined until doomsday. You are so far ahead of the participant at this point that it's almost too easy. You get precision-made props and Mark's complete routine. It's on the pricey side, but it will last forever. It's visual, it's a non-card and coin item, and it uses items that are recognizable in the real world. Enough said, really. I think it is a really, really good commercial. Is a word that perhaps hints at it's a worker for the professionals, but it's actually just one of those tricks that you'll just want to carry around. It is easy to do. It is really, really strong magic. As he says, it happens in that participant's hands, and when it's happening in their hands, you are clean. You are off to the races. The gimmick in this one is precision made as well. It will last a lifetime. You get the two regular keys. One is obviously blank and one is cut, and you also get the gimmick and another key. The gimmick doesn't quite 100% match exactly. There is a little hint, there's a gimmick there depending on how you hold the coin, but if you keep it moving, or usually, I'll tell you what, it will just look like a trick of the light regardless, so you don't have to rush. I'm making a big thing out of it just because some people might fear it, or they might look at it really, really closely and think that's what your participants are going to do. They're not expecting anything, and they've just handled these keys and seen them, so let's face it, there's nothing for them to look at that point. The gimmick itself, for me, just sums up simple genius, and it works an absolute treat. And Mark's original routine is just full of naturalness. Every action is completely motivated. The moment happens in their hands, so it's super powerful. It is quick but brilliant and really, really strong. Craig then offers 3 or 4 other routines. One is where it visually cuts, you're sort of pretending to do it with your fingers. That might be better if you're doing it for a big group of people who are all watching on. There's one of cutting it with your teeth, which is a fine idea, I guess. What you put in your mouth to spit out the little bits isn't strictly speaking covered. I wouldn't use bits of key because, you know, if you swallowed those, then that could hurt twice. And then there are a few routines as well where you can combine it with gatekeeper and what's the other one? Keymaster, of course. The fact the coins are put onto a key ring, so do get one of those twist and lock key rings. I might try and get some more in for the shop. I had them for hide a key. They just make the trick just that little bit quicker to do, and looks quite professional and less fiddly and dead time. But the fact that the keys get put, and you can see that there's one cut and one uncut key, and they are on that key ring, so they can't come off, so you can't switch them when you put them into your participants' hands. That really, really does sell the trick and make it even more impossible. Mark Leverage has created a lot of amazing magic. This was one of his best. You know, he might produce something else soon that's better, of course. Do check out his website. Penguin and Craig have got around the pricey issue that Jim Sisti mentioned in that as well. So it is now quite a bargain. That is Key Cutter by Craig Petty and Mark Leverage. £22.50p.
I think I ought to see a doctor. Oh, why do you say that? I'm beginning to like the show.
And that's it for this week's show. I know. But I will be back next week. And as I said, the weeks seem to be going very fast. If you don't subscribe already, please do. Normally I just say that because every other channel seems to say it. But actually, I'm getting very, very close to 2,000 subscribers. I don't think that makes any difference to anybody, apart from me, who is quite excited about that milestone. But otherwise, come on, let's grab some magic. Let's go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.